the divide and conquer theory.
That's right.
They tried to separate out the foreclosure from the emergency manager situation, from the job situation, from all the situations that are adverse affecting us. But they're all interconnected. And I'm here to tell you today, the foreclosure crisis is not over.
That's right.
It's increasing.
That's right.
You can go down to 36th District Court on any given day and see people lined up in the courtroom back to the elevators. The caseloads of the average judge is free handling the evictions now is between 100 to 300 a day. 95% of which are foreclosure evictions. Now you have the pensions being cut, the retirees being oppressed.
That's right.
And guess what? A lot of them still have mortgages.
That's right.
Where do you think they're going to be?
That's right.
In the foreclosure line and in the eviction line. And what makes this just so outrageous, and I'm sure Jerry will go into this in more detail, but the biggest creditors that catalyzed the quote-unquote need for the emergency manager in bankruptcy are the same banks that dropped off tons of subprime predatory loans in the city.
That's right.
And what's even more amazing is that the bonds that the city got
That's right.
were predatory.
That's right.
And I just find it mind-boggling that one of our biggest creditors, UBS, their executives were not indicted but convicted and sent to jail for municipal bond fraud that involved the city of Detroit bond. But nobody seems to have a problem with scraping up the pensioners' money to give it to the bank that's been sent to jail for fraud.
That's right. That's right.
Now, I don't know about anybody else, but I find that extremely problematic because if I go out here and commit fraud against someone and I'm sent to jail, I certainly can't send my representative to go collect money. You know, our second biggest creditor, Bank of America, their executive has been recently indicted and is awaiting sentencing for municipal bond fraud. The same institutions that are under numerous federal consent agreements for subprime predatory lending and basically illegal servicing and throwing people out on the street based on fraudulent mortgage products. Now, my question is, we know what the problem is. The problem is we have these financial institutions that have just basically taken over the system via misrepresentation and fraud. But what are we going to do? I can tell you right now, the government is not going to come bail us out.
That's right.
Because they have a ton of consent agreements with these banks.
That's right.
They fine them a certain millions, billions, or trillions of dollars. And then they go on and do business as usual. Steadily throwing people out on the street.
Right.
With respect to the city, you have people convicted and sent to jail for municipal bond fraud. But nobody thinks enough to say, hey, if they were sent to jail for fraud, perhaps they don't owe that money. No, instead they're taking everybody's pension, the art, and everything else they can get their hands on based on potentially illegal and corrupt practices.
Right.
It's going to take the people
That's right.
come together and say, we are not going to tolerate this anymore.
That's right.
Now, there is a expression, I believe it was originally quoted by Rousseau and quoted numerous times by Martin Luther King, which goes that the oppressor never voluntarily relinquishes power.
That's right.
So if people are sitting around thinking that, oh, if we hang in there, vote the right person in office, do this, do that,